Welcome to the second ever episode of the Wave Around Show on YouTube, brought to you by threefivesproduction. Again, I'm Bo.
I'm Josh.
So, basically, if you saw our video from last week, it was like 45 minutes long, which is a lot. It was more of an introduction video. We kind of talked about things we had planned and stuff. So now we're just going to start rolling like we normally would. So typically these videos from here on out should be 20 minutes at the max, but we're really kind of going for that 10 to 15 range.
We're pretty long-winded, so we'll see what happens.
Right. It'll be the same format, the same content. We have a couple different new ideas that we're going to bring in as far as like how we're going to set stuff up. But it'll basically be the same stuff, just condensed down a lot lower than 45 minutes. Because who has 45 minutes to sit and watch a video?
None of us.
I do, because I don't do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
But a lot of us don't. So basically, let's just get right into it.
Let's do it.
So the first thing we're going to do, like we always do, we'll start with our Draftkings plays. Remember, join our league. If you're not, you can find it on Twitter. You can message us on Twitter. You'll find us.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's just for free. But I beat Josh last week in our head-to-head.
Yeah, he did. He sure did.
We'll get to that later, though. So let's go ahead and get into our plays. Basically, typically our old format was I would do my plays, he would do his. The way we're going to do it now is collaborate the two together. So that these are guys that we both agree would be smart plays for the week.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the same for all the other stuff. So.
These are guys that you want to build your lineup around, just
right.
like we said. So you may not be able to afford every one of them, but these are the guys that you really want to have in your lineup, and you're going to be able to build a really decent lineup around these guys.
Exactly.
All right. So you want to start us off with your first guy?
Yeah, let's do it. So my first guy that is definitely a play this week at Fontana, Auto Club 400, is Brad Keselowski. You see him right here. Yay. So Brad qualified 13th this week, which means his points, he's going to get a lot of points for, getting positions, because I don't think he's going to finish outside the top 6.
Yeah. His
average finish here is 3rd. He has the highest average finish here of all the drivers within the last couple of years. So, 2017 he finished 2nd. Last year he finished 4th. That's why he gets an average of 3rd. He is 11,500, so a little expensive, but, Kyle Busch and Harvick are more expensive, and I would honestly think he might be a better play. Could be argued, but he finished 6th in practice for what it's worth. I think he gets his value enough from moving up the field. I could see him leading some laps. Mm-hmm. I think he has a good finish. And he's ran extremely well with this package.
And he's a Penske guy. So.
He's a Penske. I mean, Penske's dominating everything. For what it's worth, with the package, we don't have a lot of experience with it still, but he did get 2nd at Vegas, which is the closest to this package that we're going to be running. And he probably would have won that race if Joey wasn't leading, because he wasn't too aggressive. So, play number 1, Brad Keselowski. He's leaning a little bit, but...
Yeah, he's leaning.
There we go. All right.
So, our second guy that we both decided on was Martin Truex Jr., which was last year's winner. Mm-hmm. He starts 27th. He's right
That's a lot of points just for
He's right at $10,000, which for someone who won this race last year...
I would say he didn't just win. He dominated last year.
He dominated last year. And it's going to be a very similar point situation to how Kyle Larson was last week, where he's going to push his way up through the field. He's going to finish, within the top 5, I would say. It's a pretty safe bet. So, he's been in the top 5 the last 2 years. He led a bunch of laps here, last year and the year before. So, he's been the bridesmaid twice this year. I'm going with Martin Truex Jr. as a guy that you need to put in your lineup.
Making him the bride this week?
He's going to be the bride.
We'll see. I don't know. This is a hard week to pick for me.
I know it is. I don't know who I picked yet.
So another guy that we both talked about who's had success here, not only here in the past, but just seems to kind of dominated the 2-mile tracks in recent history. Obviously, I'm talking about Kyle Larson. Qualified 15th here, so kind of in that range with Brad is like he's not going to finish 15th. He's another guy I could see top 5, top 6. He hasn't had a top 5 yet this year, but he's had top 5 cars for weeks now. Just different things have happened to him. So again, the points, the differential positions, that's going to build him a lot of points up. He won the race in 2017, led 110 laps. Last year, he got 2nd. So, like I said, he's ran well here, but also with Michigan, other 2-mile tracks, especially in 2017, where he won both Michigan races and this race. He's 10,800, so a little expensive, but I don't know how many laps he's going to lead is the thing. But I think he can still reach that value easy and get those points.
I mean, him coming up the field's equivalent to about 40 laps led.
He had a fast car in Vegas, too, with the package. He had the pit road stuff. And that's going to be another thing this week. I challenge you on the podcast. Don't do it again, because he didn't last week, and he had a great run. And let's face it, he's had the fastest Chevy all year.
Yeah,
Chevy struggled.
I would agree.
He hasn't had the best finish. Kurt Busch has had the best finish with Chevys, but
up until now, he's like been those troubles on pit road that you were talking about. So once he overcomes those,
and he's trending in the right direction. So Kyle Larson, another guy, build your lineup with, and you'll get a lot of points from him.
Yeah, last guy we may be on the Penske train a little bit, but
who's not?
Yeah,
it'd be dumb not to be.
To. For $8,400, Ryan Blaney starting 10.
Mm-hmm.
He finished 8th and 9th here the last 2 years. So, I mean, Penske's been strong.
9th with the Wood brothers. So.
And even if he drops back a couple positions, which I don't think he will, but even if he does, he still meets value. So, I would put him in your lineup. He's a solid guy that's going to get you points. He's not that expensive. Like we said, $8,400. I'm playing Ryan Blaney in my lineup. So
the thing with him, he's cheap. And I think there's been points in maybe almost every race this year. Maybe not Talladega. Maybe not Daytona. I'm just already looking that far ahead. Maybe not Daytona, but I think in points of almost every other race, you could say there was a point in the race where he was the fastest car, or one of the fastest cars. He didn't run great with the package in Vegas, but he had some other things happen. That, again, that's one time with that, so it's like I'm not going to bank everything on one finish with that. But these are the 4 guys that we think would be essentially the 4 smartest plays. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised to see Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick go out and
those
do
are
great.
Just guys
They're just so expensive.
Yeah. We can't, I don't know, we can't tell you guys to pick those guys and then not know what happens to them. So if you feel confident with those guys, I put them in your lineup for sure. But these are the guys that we feel comfortable with. This is our opinion. So let's move on to our stayaways.
Sounds good. So now we're going to look at the guys that we suggest. Again, same format as far as we just kind of collaborated with this. We're going to look at guys that we think you should probably keep out of your lineup this week. Again, this is for Draftkings lineup. This is, if you do FanDuel, it's roughly the same.
Yeah. I don't know if the price is different. Right. But we play Draftkings. I like to have the extra driver in my lineup. I think it makes it a little bit more challenging than just playing with 5. So basically, we just analyze how they've ran in the past, how they're running now, all that stuff, decide who we think to play and stay away from. Again, this is our stay away guys. I guess I'll go because I've just been flashing him around. Yeah.
I've just been
showing him.
If you haven't seen by now, this is Austin Dillon. And it you might think this is a crazy pick because he did qualify first. And he had a good practice run, but he's done that for weeks now. And let's be honest, he's starting first. He's got Kevin Harvick second, Almirola third, Kyle Busch fourth. If I were to say that to you and say, do you think, because restart's going to be crazy. They have been, and now there's like 4 or 5 lanes for these guys to go in.
I'd be really worried.
Do you think Austin Dillon's going to lead the first lap?
Yeah.
Or multiple laps with those guys behind him?
I mean, I'm predicting right now Austin Dillon, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick at the restart going into turn 1. Calling it right now. So,
and I mean, Chevy restarts have been rough this year in general.
Have been.
And Austin Dillon's had rough restarts this year. So based on that, I don't think it's crazy to see a scenario where he starts on the pole, doesn't lead a lap. You also have to consider that we don't know if he's technically the fastest car of the 12 because 1 through 12 that's the run from stage 2 of qualifying because nobody got their run on stage 3, which is ridiculous. That's so stupid. Not on NASCAR. That's on the drivers at that point, honestly. I mean, you can argue that it's the format's fault, but still. Here's the thing with Austin Dillon. It seems like he's been fast for weeks now, and he qualified 4th with Vegas, finished 20th. He had a fast car at Atlanta, finished 20th or 21st. Phoenix finished 21st. And those are all runs that he like had a good car with and had speed. In practice, you saw him in first, second, third, and he just falls back.
Yeah.
So, and he's starting first. He can only go back. And there's other guys that I think come up. He's only 7,400, so it's not going to break the bank either way. But I don't think he leads a lap. I don't even think he gets a top 10.
No,
and that's going to lower his points just by that automatically. So there's other guys in his range. Jimmy, Stenhouse, they're a little more expensive, but like a guy like Alex Bowman is like 600 cheaper than him. So 400 cheaper, whatever. So I wouldn't play Austin Dillon this week. Mainly, I don't think he doesn't have a fast car, but it's the position that he's starting in that really hurts.
If he was starting back a little bit, I'd definitely consider him at 7,400, but starting off I wouldn't. So another guy that we kind of started the season pretty high on, I would say, we predicted him at the beginning of the year being someone that we really want to look out for, but he's really been disappointing this entire year. And that guy's Daniel Suarez at 8,000. His average finish here is 19th, his average finish here is 15th. He starts 20th. And he's just had a rough start to the year.
Yeah, we talked about it on the podcast a little bit.
So if you want to listen to that, head to our podcast. We talk a little bit more about it there. But, he hasn't transitioned too well into the 41 car. And I think he's the weakest link at Stewart-Haas right now. And until he proves himself to me, I don't expect him to run well here. I wouldn't pay the $8,000 for him. I'd pay up a little bit, $8,200 for Eric Jones. or I'd pay down. You could even pay down $7,800 for Jimbo Johnson there.
Jimbo.
So I'm just staying away from him right now. I really like him, but he's just got to prove something to me before I start putting him in lineups.
He's been one of those guys where he turns it on later in the year. So
yeah,
the car's fast. We saw Kurt have a really good year with this car last year, but yeah, I mean, growing pains. He's just
he's getting settled in.
Right.
To be fair, Eric Almirola didn't start off. I mean, he had a good run last year in Phoenix, but other than that, he took him a while.
He almost won Daytona, but whatever.
Yeah, that's Daytona.
Well, whatever.
Austin Dillon won Daytona.
Now look where he is. Stay away.
All right, let's head over to our bracket busters.
All right. So now we're going to look at our bracket busters, which might be kind of a confusing term. March Madness is coming up, though. I'm hyped for that. That's a side point. So I'll let Josh break down kind of what the bracket buster option really means.
So bracket buster is like if you play in a lot of tournament play or ladder play where you need some guys that aren't owned very much, or you have like a low owned percentage, these are the guys you want to be looking for. That they have that high ceiling, but they possibly have that really low floor too. So these are the guys that can score you a lot of points, but can also be fuddy-duddy. So I wouldn't pay them in. I wouldn't do them in your 50-50s, or you put them in your 50-50s, whatever. But I personally wouldn't play these guys in my 50-50s or my double-ups and stuff like that. But if you're looking for good alternatives in your tournament play, that's who I go with here.
Basically, the way I break this down is look at their price. Do I think they're worth that? Do I think they exceed that? Or do I think they fall back dramatically? That's how I look at it. These are like your make or break guys that
these
they
are the
can
guys
either get
that
a whole bunch of points for you or not.
Leaning towards exceeding their value, but it could go either way.
So with that being said, my first bracket buster, whatever you want to call it, would be Mr. Eric Jones, qualified 18th. So again, I think he's going to go higher than that, which we calculated if he gets up to 12th, he's worth his value. And I think he easily can be the top 12. I don't know how much he moves up. That's in the air. He's had a good start this year, but not as great as I thought he would. But JGR has been fantastic too, probably the second best team. So just for reference, last year he finished 7th. The year before that, in his old 77 car, it was 12th. So he's ran well at this track. Obviously, it's not with this package, but even you still need to know how the track runs in general. So the other thing is he's 8,200 this week. He's not very expensive. He could be a fantastic value guy at this price, even if he just moves up a few spots. Or he could have, I have the other one over here. I'll have to set it up. Or he could have another incident like last week with the tire. But honestly, anybody could. That's kind of a crapshoot. Bracket buster number 1, Mr. Eric Jones. Don't mind me.
You almost knocked old Lucky Dog off.
Old Dick Trickle.
All right. So our next guy, I had a hard time convincing Bo to not put this guy as a play.
The reason that he's in bracket busters is because I refuse to put him as a play.
And it's probably pretty fair. Kurt Busch starts 21st. His average finish here is 19th. So I think he's really showed a lot of improvement this year. He looks good for Chip Ganassi. And he's been one of the best value picks all year. He's one of the best guys that points per
It's starting to reflect because his price is going up.
Yeah.
He's reached into the 9s now.
Yeah.
So
he's 9,100. I see him moving forward, but his average finish here shows, maybe I'm trending in the wrong direction here. But I really think he's going to move forward. He's really good on pit road. He has a really good pit road strategy. So I see him going forward, but he could easily just stay right where he is.
Another point that I just thought of with him is with this package of Vegas, he ran that bold strategy to get out front where he just wasn't, and then he finished 5th. So he's got that strategy down. It could be a good play, but you know my opinion on that. So the second guy, I'm kind of going down the list on price now. I think Josh is kind of going down a little bit too. Mine's a little lower because I like to find these value guys that could be good plays for you or ruin your lineup like it was done for me. But basically, so I have Matt DeBetta-Burrito, whatever you want to call him. I'll just put him in here and then talk about him. So he qualified 24th. Last week we saw him almost have a top 10. Then he finished 28th because he had an accident. With the setup that we're running this week in Vegas, he was 21st, so he'll move up a couple spots. He's 6,500, so he's cheap. That's going to allow you to stack the top of your lineup more, which is nice, but also he's still better than playing a Corey LaJoie or something like that to load the top of your lineup. No, you rated him last week, and look what happened there.
Hey,
you lost.
Did good in our league.
Well, did you play a Corey LaJoie in the league?
I don't know.
I don't think you did.
I think I played
you played him against me.
I barely broke 200.
So he could either pick up a few spots and get you more points. He could have a good run. Get in the top 15. I wouldn't be surprised because I think sometimes we still look at him and think of the stigma from last year of he's the back of the guy, back of the line, kind of back of the guy. I don't know that about him. He's a back of the line kind of car, but not anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a top 10 car typically, but
that Procore car, that 95,
it's a respectable.
It's not a speed demon, but it's not.
It's better than like Go Fast Racing or whoever he was racing for last year. So, but at the same time, the reason that he's a bracket buster is because there still is the potential that he does fall back.
Yeah. He could just as easily go forward as he could get laughed about 6
times. So he's
times.
a cheap value guy, and he is probably better value than the other guys in that range with him. So.
And he acted like he had a pretty quick car.
Exactly, yeah. So. He said he had a fast car, which
everybody says
the majority of the time they all say.
But he was pretty frustrated with the way qualifying turned out.
Right.
So.
All right.
So I'm going to keep with him. I talked about him on the podcast. He was my stock up guy on the podcast. Jimmy Johnson is a bracket buster. $7,800 for a guy that has 3 top 10s here in the last 4 races.
Couple wins, 6 wins, isn't it?
Yeah, he's won in the last 4 years. Although it was in the Chevy SS, but it's whatever. Not been too hot in the ZR1, but he battled in the top 5 for the majority of the race last year. Mm-hmm. He starts 11th. I really see Jimmy Johnson getting up there battling. That's a really good position. I mean, he was.
Did you touch on his price?
Yeah,
$7,800, which is weird because he had a good run last week, and he's been good here, and it's still dropping. So that's the reason I wanted to play him.
Their stock's down on him, but my stock's up.
Hey,
that's a good little ringer there.
Right, yeah. Fantastic.
Jimmy Johnson.
Boom.
Confetti.
Did good last week, so
he's high off that. He enjoyed it.
Dang, he's gonna get drugged after that. All right, so with that being said, we went through our plays, stayaways, and bracket busters. Now you get to see the lineup that me and Josh will run with each other head to head. If you're in our league, this will not be the same lineup that we use because we still haven't seen the second or third practice. But this is just the one that me and him do a weekly competition.
That you should not play this lineup in your Draftkings.
No, this is no knowledge on any practice results or anything.
This right here is where the analysis stops and the entertainment factor picks back up. Because this is just me and Bo having fun picking our lineup. So,
I'm also beating him 2-1, so I'm having extra fun.
So if you're here for the Draftkings stuff, that's where probably the end of that is. So
well, you can see our lineups.
Yeah, this is the continuation of basically where our podcast left off. So
yeah, all right. So
let's get that started.
Let's run that.
All right, so quickly before we show you our lineups that we're going to play against each other, we want to give a shout out to last week's winner in our league that we have, our Draftkings league. That it's free to join. We talked about it earlier. Hop in, it's fun. You can smack talk us and all that stuff. But last week's winner was Mr. Matt 87.
Yep.
Matt, we sent him an email to give us a shout out. He said he was going to, but life happens. Life happens, so we understand. But we're going to shout out his Twitter anyway.
Win again, and there you go.
Make sure you follow him. Share some love with him. And remember that you could be on the show. You could have your own video part here, audio, whatever. So,
join the league.
Yep. Mr. Matt 87, thanks for playing, man. You played real good last week.
Thanks, man. Looking forward to another week against you.
Yep. All right, so now we're going to show you our head-to-head lineups we're going to be running against each other this week.
I got a big grin on my face right now.
Just a big
I'm
reminder.
Feeling good off a high win.
Those 2-1, and I'm 1-2 right now. So
that would be how it works. Yes.
Yep. All right.
We didn't do Daytona. Why do I keep saying Daytona? We didn't do Daytona.
Yeah, that was just silly.
Just be a waste of time.
Yeah. All right, so my first guy to be playing against you is Alex the Showman Bowman.
Okay.
Get in there.
I'm going to go $100 less than him. Stick with Hendrick. I wanted him, but I didn't have an extra $100. So, Mr. Byron. He ran all right here last year. Okay. Said the same thing about Phoenix, and came back to bite me hard.
All right, I'm taking a shot. Again. Kurt Busch.
I'm glad. You were supposed to play Ryan Newman this week, but whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My second guy, definitely a shot, but I just talked about why I think he's a good value play. Matt DiBenedetto, DiBenedetto. Let him poke out a little bit.
Just let me take a second and talk about how good Ryan Newman did in qualifying while I'm pulling out my third.
He did get 7.
Ty Dillon.
Ooh, yeah. I see why you want to talk about Ryan Newman now and just drop Ty Dillon in there. He starts too high this week, I think. He don't run here as well. I'm glad. Hey, thanks for playing him. So, my third guy, Eric Jones. Again, I've already talked about him. I started him last week, and lap 40, I cried a little bit. So, hopefully the same doesn't happen this week.
Next guy, Kyle Larson.
Yep.
Starting 15th.
I like it so much. I'm going to play him myself. It's been good here. I don't know how confident I feel about this because I don't know if any of these guys lead a whole lot of laps.
Yeah. I mean, so far the only one I could see is
I couldn't fit Harvey.
Ty Dillon, probably.
I couldn't fit Harvey. Yeah, so far the only ones I think would definitely be either Matt DiBenedetto or Ty Dillon. So.
My next guy, this guy could definitely lead some laps, starting like 24th or something. Paul Menard. I don't know where he starts. Starts back there. Average finish is like this year other than Daytona is like around 15th or 16th. So he's moving up.
Oh, bro, that's great.
Good value for him.
I'm going to go with the guy that you've been hating on for weeks, but he's been solid this year. I mean, he's been 12th or 13th with this package. He was 5th at Vegas. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. My best friend, by the way. If you heard the podcast, we hang out all the time. These two and me, we're like a love triangle.
My last guy. Hard not to play this guy starting at 27th, Martin Truex Jr. Looks going to get me a lot of points. Hope he don't wreck out.
I just say the same for me. There we go. Best of luck.
Yeah.
I'm going to win.
I'm
going to be 3-1, get a nice cushion, then I can start playing. I wanted like Brad K, but it's too expensive. I didn't want to play David Reagan and Michael McDowell for like the 3rd week in a row. So
why not?
Because they haven't done great for me. David Reagan did, but McDowell, I'm sorry.
All right.
So
last thing we got to do is we got to pick our winners. So don't mind Bo over there.
I'm sorry. It's a long day.
Yeah, we're slap happy at this point. It's really late in the night when we're doing this. So all right, let's just pick our winners.
Also, we just drew Cody Ware on that one.
Actually, I want to see yours first.
You want to see mine first? I want to see yours first, but okay. I'm going to go with the Mr. 2 Mile himself. The Kyle Larson.
Okay, I like that. Starting 15th.
He'll be the first or the second Chevy to finish in the top 5 this year. So, go Chevy.
All right, my guy. Here's what's going to happen. Are you ready?
I'm nervous about
200 and 201 happen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But you didn't put him in your lineup. Interesting.
Nope. 200 and 201 happen.
The 200 Xfinity doesn't. Xfinity. The 200 in Xfinity is a given, I would think. But.
Yeah, but that's where I'm going. Kyle Busch.
Okay.
Didn't really want to pick it. You guys know how I feel about Kyle Busch at this point, but I just feel like he's so good. Starting on the outside pole. Round he goes.
I see. I can see it.
All right, so we got the lucky dog pick now. Old Dick Trickle's going to pick his winner.
Last week you had Bubba Wallace, so...
He almost was right. He was kind of almost a winner. He blocked...
He was a winner for himself.
Yeah.
He did block Kyle Busch there for a little bit.
If Ryan Blaney would have won...
I would have given it to Dick Trickle as a win as well. So.
All right, here we go.
All right, Dickie. I'm nervous, bro. No, okay.
We may be giving away a prize this week.
Oh, let's see. Ooh, that is a good pick, actually.
It's definitely like someone that I wanted to pick. But
let me find his face. Got 40 guys down here because you never know. I just had it. Oh, I got it. By the way, so the price thing is, if you follow us on Twitter, we'll basically just pick a random follower on Twitter. Maybe someone who watches this would be better. We'll figure that out. But
if you comment or whatever on our YouTube video, we'll do it then.
Dick Trickle picks Kevin Harvick. Solid pick this week. Bold move from Bubba Wallace.
Dick Trickle.
He's on.
He's on.
He's on this week.
I wouldn't doubt him.
I can see it. We're kind of low on him this week, too.
If Dick Trickle picks a winner over us.
Hey, you've had 2 out of 4 this year.
Yeah,
I've had 1 out of 4. So, Dick is 0 for 1.
He's over, but there's a good chance he'd go.
He has a solid. I think all 3 of us have a solid chance this week. So, there we have it.
Make sure you'll give us a like, subscribe, comment. Check out.
I give a thumbs down. I just meant comment below.
Yeah, comment below. Check out the podcast.
Yeah.
We put it out every Wednesday?
On iTunes. Lipson. Every Wednesday.
On Stitcher.
Yeah, Stitcher.
Check us out.
The link's on our Twitter at 35spod. The podcast is named The Wave Around Show, just like this is The Wave Around Show on YouTube.
Catch y'all later.
See you guys. Thanks for watching.